welcome to all of you to the School of Architecture and the Built Environment EAE, okay, Early Admissions Exercise webinar. All right. So during this webinar, we will be talking about quite a few things. So let me move the slides to the contents page. So you can see here that we'll be covering quite a few items. Namely, right at the beginning, we'll talk about our school as a whole. Just for all of you to know, if you have looked at our website or downloaded our brochure, you would have seen that we have 6 diplomas under this school. We will tell you a little bit about all the diplomas and how they fit together. And then, of course, knowing that you are thinking of maybe trying out the EAE applications for the 3 design-related diplomas, we will go into more specifics about these diplomas themselves, tell you a little bit about the program, the career options, and also some further study options also. And then more importantly, we will also share with you the selection, the application process, the EAE application process and the selection criteria for applying into these 3 diplomas through the EAE. Then more importantly, okay, we've actually invited one of our students, okay, Farah, to share with you her journey of joining our school through the EAE exercise, right? So this is a very personal journey of hers, and it's quite heartwarming that she has agreed to come on to this webinar today to share her experience with all of you. So I hope it's of value to you, and also you can cherish this opportunity. And then after Farah's sharing, we will have one of my colleagues, Mr. Ian Choi, to show you, how you can actually build up an e-portfolio, because that it is part of the requirements of applying through this EAE, right? And then we will come to the end, giving you some time to pose your questions to us. At the same time, we do have some videos to share with you to show you a bit of how life is like in the school. So maybe without any further ado, let me start with talking about the School of Architecture and the Built Environment. You can see from our slogan here, it is of course aiming to create a sustainable future. Okay. So this is in line with the national goals also, right? And also the global goals, because if you ask the United Nations what is one of the most important things that they are vying for now, is of course to be able to promote sustainability in everything we do. Okay, so in the role of being the school, educating professionals to enter the built environment sector, we also believe that we can make a difference. So we also believe that we contribute heavily towards a sustainable future for Singapore. Now, how do we, how do we go about achieving these goals? So students are molded into professionals to execute concepts and designs for a built environment that is conducive for quality living, right? So this is very much in line with the national goals that we have. And also from architecture to events management, okay, we are the only school currently offering a comprehensive range of built environment programs. There's a slide that I'll be sharing later that explains more about what we mean by this comprehensive range of built environment programs. And then next up, we talk about strong support given to our students for all well-trained specialists, because it's needed to design and maintain buildings and infrastructure projects to achieve the Singaporean identity and facilitate a vibrant lifestyle. So there are really many things that we're trying to achieve here. So we hope that the way that we have set up our school and all the programs that we have, we are constantly moving towards achieving these goals also. So I think probably a video would speak louder than words. So here is a quick intro video to our school, and it will give you a good idea of the 6 programs that we have, and also showcase a little bit of the life that our students have in campus also. Okay, so sit back and relax. Okay, so hope you enjoyed that quick trailer video, okay, of all the 6 courses under our school. And throughout all the images, you can see also that the students have gone through many different activities, such as workshops. They are using our labs, okay, during their lessons. Okay, they go out of classroom to actually learn things also out of the campus, and many more other activities. So let me move on to the next slide and explain to you better what we mean by our school of ABE being the one of the only schools in Singapore to have this comprehensive range of programs under the built environment sector. We call this the built environment journey because we literally cover the entire journey with all the 6 courses that we have. If I describe to you, a typical story of how a building comes about or a structure comes about, okay, maybe we can talk about the design phase, okay, when it's being conceptualized, okay, finalizing the design, etc. And then the next step is actually being realized, okay, being constructed and realized through civil engineering. So once the building is up, usually what happens here is we will bring in the interior design teams and then the landscape designers also to beautify things, to make it livable, and of course following whatever requirements that were previously stated or included. Then I would say that in most structures, they're completed within 1 to up to maybe 5 years at the most. And then the rest of the journey of this particular building would belong to facilities management, because it is their responsibility to make sure that it's available and comfortable and safe to use for the rest of the life of the building, right? And then who makes things exciting, right, within these structures? Okay, we come to the final diploma, but not the least, being a diploma in integrated events and project management, okay, DEPM. So all of our 6 diplomas have a place or role to play within the built environment journey. And if you decide to join any of these diplomas, okay, maybe after this sharing, you might even be interested in some of these other diplomas that are not design based. Okay, please go ahead and you can try out applying for them also through EAE or maybe even the usual admissions exercises. So that is basically the overall picture of what our school of ABE is about and how we fit into this industry and this sector. Okay, so now it's time for me to zoom into the 3 design diplomas. Okay, so what do these design diplomas share? What commonalities do they share, right? So the most obvious one being the Common Foundation Program. Okay, so what is this about, right? So this is actually an opportunity for students to experience the shared fundamentals of an industry-centric, okay, explorative and self-directed design program. Okay, so the key term here is, of course, shared fundamentals, because they all share the fundamentals of being a design-related program, right? So what does this foundation program do is that it leverages on the common language of built environment design across the 3 disciplines. So whatever you're designing, right, whether it be the interior design, landscape design, etc., there are certain lingos in the language used, right, that are common throughout all these 3 sectors. Okay, so it is a very smart thing that we're doing here by combining these languages, but at the same time sharing with the student what are the differences. Okay, and then provides a discourse of design from multiple perspectives. So a lot of these lessons allow the students to intermingle and interact with each other. So through this interaction, they are able to share different perspectives. That means an interior design student looking at this same design, right, concept, is able to give their opinion in a different way, right, to students that are learning the landscape architecture. Okay, so hopefully by hearing the perspective from other students from other design perspectives, right, we are able to reflect more on our own designs also, because ultimately we are all working together. So it's important how our work, right, can synergize better and produce something more incredible than our own one single component. So this Common Foundation program was created with all this in mind. Okay, but outside of this common foundation program, then of course the students will have to learn things that are relating specifically towards their own diploma. So let's move on to talking about the three diplomas. I will only be able to highlight in this short amount of time some things about each of these diplomas. Okay, I won't be able to share with you every single thing, but hopefully through what I highlight, it piques your interest, right? So this is, of course, the diploma in architecture. It is the first full-fledged diploma in architecture in Singapore. And what you see here, this image that you see here was actually rendered and designed by our own student for one of their final year projects. Okay, so what I will highlight here for the diploma in architecture is actually talking about how the modules are designed, okay, and what kind of concepts are built in, right? So taking this example of the design studio module, right? Everything is based on ethos and tenets, right? So in this case, the ethos being that is to inculcate sensitivity of integration towards the multidisciplinary nature of architectural design, right? So the whole module follows this ethos, but in order to let the students learn about this ethos better, right? Then these are the little tenets that help to direct the students towards the right direction, right? So there is this design methodology, right, that's involved, and then also the design integration. Okay, so within each of these tenets, there are also keywords that the rest of the lecture materials will be created on or designed on based on. So this is one example of a module. Another example of a different module being technical studies, right? So in technical studies, again, it's just an ethos being to inculcate the appreciation of structure, materials, and sensitivity towards detailing, right? Then there's, of course, tenets to follow up with that, being fundamentals of structure, building technology, and building construction. Okay, and then a whole range of keywords that the students will have to learn and expand upon. And then the last example that I can give for the diploma in architecture being the design representation module. So of course, it follows an ethos of providing students with a comprehensive suite of software skills and strengthen their design, technical, and presentation capabilities. So in order to achieve this, of course, you have to strengthen your skills on computation and also understanding of design standards. Because being in Singapore, we have a lot of design standards to adhere to. Okay, name one of the examples being from BCA, etc., and other authorities. Okay, so this is a rough explanation of how our modules are designed, not just for the diploma in architecture, but also for other diplomas that have design as a basis. Okay, then showing you what are the the further work opportunities after graduation. Of course, all these architectural main architectural careers are available, but some things that are a bit more unique, they are a bit outside of the box, being visualizers and storytellers, okay, or maybe even a design researcher. So someone who is specializing in architecture but works for university and researches on designs, right? So maybe there's something that you would like to explore also if you are more academically inclined, right? But being a visualizer and a storyteller can also be very interesting and fulfilling. Right? So all our programs, right, allow students to advance in their studies in many different ways. So these are what are being provided or what is provided to all our graduates. So they can go ahead and take up work study, post-diploma programs, programs that are in CET, namely continuing education and training, and then of course advanced diploma programs. Okay, but if you want to deepen your skills and get a higher education, of course you can go to universities that are available locally and also overseas. Okay, so all these options are actually available to all our students, but the specific program that you can join will differentiate from there, right? And the institutions that you can join might slightly differentiate also. Now, moving on to the diploma in landscape architecture, all right? So you can see that this is a full-fledged landscape architecture diploma, and the design that you see here is, of course, also a render from our own students' work. Okay, so everything I show you here is of our own students and also is of their work. Now, what I want to share with you while talking about the diploma in landscape architecture is to show you how our students progress throughout the 3 years of their studies here. So let's take landscape architecture as an example. So I did mention before that all design course students within ABE will go through the same common foundation program. So this common foundation program, from the perspective of landscape architecture students, what they do is it aims to provide an opportunity for the student to experience the rich fundamentals of industry-centric and explorative curriculum. So this engenders holistic preparation and foundation for an exciting, challenging, and enriching career in the built environment. Okay, so what is not really mentioned here is, of course, the shared perspective with other students from the other two diploma. Okay, but it's to let you know that you are given a common foundation that will be built upon later in the year 2 and year 3. Okay, so you can see down here there's also some renders of students' work during their year 1 foundation program. So let's take, for example, once they move on to year 2. So how do we build upon these DLA student skills? Is being that in year 2 they learn about skyrise greenery that alleviates urban heat island effect and contributes to minimize the impact of climate change in the long run. Okay, so you can see that there's a bit of deepening in their skill set. And then the examples that you see here is also what our students themselves have developed with this goal in mind. So come year 3, right before their graduation, their skills are further deepened. And also, in a sense, they're covering a bigger scope because they have to work on skills pertaining to urban planning, right? So it's not just a particular environment around a building, but actually the environment for an entire zone, right? Okay, so you can see from the work that's displayed below here that is more like planning for a small little township. Okay, so the scope becomes bigger and bigger. Okay, so this is basically the journey of a DLA student. And then, of course, once they graduate, they can take up these career options. Again, on the left, you can see a lot of the main options available to the graduates, but there are also some interesting options. Take, for example, if you see on the right, there's options of exploring your career as a parks officer. Okay, so those of you who are more, what you want to be closer to nature, this is actually definitely a very good option. And it does require a qualification to become a parks officer if you did not already know. Okay, and then those of you who want to work more in the public sector and help make sure different townships in Singapore are planned well, you can of course join the town council estate to become an estate officer also. Okay, so these are some of the more interesting options that are different from being the mainline landscape designer jobs, right? Then of course the same further study options are also available to our DLA students. Okay, but you can see some slight variations in the institutions that they can join at university. Okay, so I have to move on. Okay, also because of the we're pressing for time also to cover a lot of material. So we move on to the final design diploma, being the diploma in interior design, and also at the same time you get to see a design that was created by our own students also. Now, what I want to highlight while talking about the diploma in interior design is the other kinds of activities that our students have throughout their study life here. So you can also enjoy visitations and workshops, right, that are planned by your lecturers, okay, or your future lecturers. So our students get to learn things outside of the classroom. Okay, they can visit sites that they normally don't see within the campus also. Okay, so they get to meet up with suppliers, other sorts of design firms, etc. Okay, so this is really very helpful because it helps to let them know what is the bigger picture out there in the industry outside of the campus. Okay, so these are some examples of the concrete casting, fab workshops outside our campus, and then there's also the spaces that are belonging to other companies. Now, other types of activities can include also the student showcase. So these are opportunities for our students to talk about their own projects and share their experience with other students and other lecturers within SP. Okay, you can see that the bottom right picture is actually our library, our SP library. So the library is also designed to be like a space that is more for sharing. Okay, so able to hold these small little exhibitions for our students to showcase their work also. So this is something that's also outside of your usual classroom curriculum. Okay, and then the final example I can show of things that you can do outside of the typical curriculum is, of course, go compete, okay, in participate in competitions to win design awards. So these are some of the awards that have actually been won and achieved by our own students, okay, namely on themes based on resorts, hive, spatial branding, and shifting markets. Okay, so this type of opportunity is also available to all students in all 3 design diplomas. Okay, but I'm just giving you some examples specifically coming from the DID diploma. So career options that are available, of course, there are also those mainline ones that you can see available to all specialists, people that specialize in interior design. But some others, they are also quite interesting. That's a bit out of the box, namely being a stage set designer. So other than designing commercial buildings or residential buildings, why not become a designer for a theater production? Okay, what I meant is a theater production. So it can be quite a different kind of experience. At the same time, you can try to become a visual merchandiser, okay, working for companies like Apple, etc., to help them design their stores. And then lastly, why not nowadays, we talk about metaverse and virtual reality a lot. So there's also opportunities to also become a walkthrough animator, okay, in the future, right? So these are a little bit of the out of the box kind of opportunities. Okay, so if we move on to talking about the further study opportunities, okay, the same programs, similar programs are available to DID students, okay, but if you look at the further studies in university, there are other institutions available in Singapore, for example, like the LaSalle College of Arts and also the Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts that's also available to our students from graduating from DID. Now, to sum up everything, of course, I have to tell you about the EAE process, selection process. But before that, just to let you know a little bit of the JAE ELR 2B2 scores for each of these diplomas, right? So these give you a rough idea of how challenging it can be to come into these diplomas through the usual JAE route. Okay, so if you feel that you would like to make an early choice and admit yourself into the diploma to bypass this particular process, right? Then this next slide will be very helpful for you, because this is exactly what you can do to help yourself get into any of these 3 diplomas earlier, right? So this selection process has 2 stages, namely the stage 1 being the aptitude test. Okay, so this aptitude test is usually, it can come in the form of an online quiz, etc. Okay, or a short answer essay questions. And then there's also this write-up that's required. So you talk about your own achievements, especially those pertaining to anything that is to do with designing, right? But it can be also any achievements that you have had in your schooling life. Okay, so because it's to show how motivated an individual you are also. Anything relating to your CCAs can also apply. Then lastly, one thing that is more challenging for most of the applicants being the submission of the digital portfolio or the e-portfolio. So later, my colleague, Mr. Ian Choi, will actually give you a more detailed explanation of how this can be done, right? So I won't elaborate too much here. So moving on to stage 2. So once you bypass stage 1, and then you are sent the invitation to come for the panel interview. So during the panel interview, you will be able to share more or be asked questions pertaining to your portfolio. And then you also to talk more about why you gave certain answers during the aptitude test and also during your write-up. Okay, so the interview, it is not determined yet whether it's online interview or face-to-face interview, because that is yet to be decided. But in the invitation email that you receive, they will state it very clearly. Okay, so don't worry about it. So I think I've overrun slightly, okay, on the time allowed for myself. But more importantly, there should be time allowed for Farah to share with you her experience applying through EAE, and also a little bit about her life within the course itself. All right, so I will maybe let Farah continue the sharing now. So I will stop my sharing first.
Let me share.
Just give me a second.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. It can be seen, right?
Yeah, Farah, it looks fine. Okay,
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Farah. I'm from the School of ABE, and I'll just be talking about like some of my experience from personally applying to EAE. Yeah, so some of the things that I will go through about what the process was like for me, the EAE process, and also some things that you can expect when you do apply to EAE as well. Yeah, so some info about me. I myself went through the EAE process, so I know how nerve-wracking it can be actually. Yeah, but I'll go through more on that later. I'm currently in year 2 studying in the Diploma of Interior Design. And yeah, I'm 20 this year, by the way. Yeah. So I took a little bit of a longer route because I took my NA levels and then went to ITE, in which I studied in the same course as I'm in right now, which is interior design. And because I graduated with a cumulative GPA of 3.6, I could skip higher NITEC and hit straight to Poly. Yeah, so why I chose SP was, like before you decide your school choices and all that, you will kind of like research and compare options. Yeah, so upon doing that, I found out that like SP was like the most suitable for me, like the one that matches my interest the most. Yeah, and it's also a plus because it's conveniently located from where I live, so it's easy to get to school. Yeah, and because I came from ITE, I had two ways of applying to Poly, either through EAE or the JPAE. But if you come from secondary 4 or sec 5, I think there's also an additional way, which is like DPP, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so personally for me, I wanted to have a secured spot rather than competing with the rest of Singapore when the JPAE admissions open. So that's why I went with EAE. And with EAE also, when you apply and you pass through all the interviews and the aptitude test, you're guaranteed a spot as long as your GPA or your SEC school grades meet the requirements. Yeah, but with GPAE, you need to wait for your results to come out, and then you need to wait and see whether the poly you applied to accepted you. So it's kind of longer process, and that's why I personally wanted to use the EAE method. Yeah, so that my spot is secured. So how the process was like for me, I remember I had to do a portfolio, an aptitude test, and then also there was an interview at the end with like some lecturers. But the aptitude test is not really like an exam, so you don't have to worry. It's not hard. In fact, it's actually pretty simple. It's just some tasks. What I have to do is follow the instructions, and then yeah, it's pretty simple to go through it. So when I applied for the EAE admissions, it was actually one of my first times making a portfolio. So some of the things that I included were like some of my past school projects, some creative work that's like relating to the course that you're applying for. And basically all of this should be collated and it should display your personality and your skills. So these are some examples of like what they could look like. These are some of the sketches that I personally included in my portfolio. Yeah, so it's just some sketches of like buildings or even like just like shapes and all that, so that it's just to show off my skills. And I also had like past projects where where I made a kitchen model and like, I had some renderings as well. So those kind of things can be included as well. A little bit about the aptitude test that I went for also, that I sat for actually. They asked me to like sketch and like interpret some things according to the question that they asked. So it's actually very simple. Literally all you have to do is follow the instructions, show off your creativity, and then it should be all good lah. It's not really that scary. Yeah, so that was like the first few steps. And after that, if you get selected, you will be asked to go through an interview. Yeah, so the interview I sat for, there were two lecturers, and then there's also yourself. So total, there's three people involved, yourself and two lecturers. And every time I go for an interview, I get so nervous because I don't really know what to expect. But there was actually no reason to be like, because it was just like a conversation. And the point of it is so that the lecturers get to know you a little better. So don't have to be nervous, just know your own personal strengths and weaknesses. Be sincere when you talk and just be confident. It really wasn't that scary at all. Yeah, and then all you have to do is sit and wait, and hopefully in like the next few months you can get an acceptance letter like me. Yeah, so when I got that letter, I was so excited because I was secured a spot in SVE. So some key points to take note would be to prepare a good portfolio, because that is basically like the school's first impression of you. So just like when you meet new people, you need to set off a good example by your portfolio. Yeah, and manage your time well, because there are actually quite a few steps for the whole process, and you should submit them by the deadlines and not be late. And lastly, just simply believe in yourself, and hopefully everything will go smoothly. Yeah, have the confidence. Thank you. That's all from me.
Wow, that was quick but very heartwarming sharing by Farah. Farah, thanks so much for this. I thank you also for not just sharing your experience, some of what you went through, but at the same time instilling some confidence in everybody. Because truly, it's not a very difficult process if you are able to just follow the instructions. And of course, whatever my colleague, Mr. Ian Choi, is going to share with you later, it will definitely also help. Okay. So Farah, thanks so much for being here with us. You can go ahead with any other programs that you have
Okay, bye-bye.
engaged in. All right. Thanks so much. Huh?
Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
I will thank Farah on behalf of everyone. So now, after that sharing from Farah, let's move ahead with giving you, the very important guidelines and maybe some tips on how you can actually make your e-portfolio better. Okay, so without further ado, let me invite my colleague, Mr. Ian Choi, here to share his little his important ideas actually on how you can construct your e-portfolio. Okay, Ian, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wong. Okay, so what I will do is that I will share screen. Just give me a moment. At the meantime, right, I understand that you guys should see a button called the Q&A. So what you can do is that you will also be able to ask questions. So if you have any questions that you would like to clarify with us, please do so. Mr. Wong, may I check if you are able to see the presentation?
Yes,
slide?
your slides are well and clear.
Okay, thank you so much. So what I will do for today is that I will explain to everyone a little bit about the portfolio and why it is so important. I believe that Farah has already in some way summarized some of the key points already. It is for you to use it to really explain what you have and what are your interests, what are you good at, and hopefully that you can convince us and we'll be able to accept you to come into the School of Architecture and the Built Environment. Some of you guys might ask is like some key question is like, oh, I'm a science student, I doesn't know anything about arts, or I do very little arts, but I believe that I'm creative enough. So what should I be able to prepare myself so that I will be able to get a place? Which also happens to me as well, because I was a pure maths and science student. So I basically missed out the 2 years of art study when I was in Sec 3 and Sec 4. So, but I want to be an interior designer. Just for your information, I'm interior design trained and I'm currently teaching interior design course. So how will I be able to get in? Basically, I will share with you guys some tips as well along the way, okay? So just for your information, this EAE program is for these 3 diplomas, for Diploma Architecture, Interior Design, and Landscape Architecture. So basically, those information that Mr. Wong has covered, yeah, these are the 3 courses that you'll be able to use the portfolio and also interview to come in. Design portfolio is really important because what happened is like this, okay? In Latin, folio basically called a collection, and port is basically something portable, which is able to carry around. So basically, a portfolio simply means is a collection of work that which representing you, yourself, and what can you offer to the school, or what can you offer to yourself in the route of becoming a designer. Simple as that. You can highlight your design or creative accomplishment, might not need to be totally design, but it can be something creative, to be able to demonstrate off your talents and also your passion, and also give an edge over the others who are applying to this course as well. So how to stand out? Of course, prep yourself for the interview. Other than this, I think the set of work will stand you apart. Okay, the most important thing is that to prove that you are good enough to that we'll be able to foresee you to come into this big environment industry and be able to be a good designers or architect who has a very good attitude. Okay, what makes a good portfolios? Of course, currently because of COVID and all, we are not going to use so much of a physical portfolio, where we're going to go into a bit more like a e-format. In the old days, the portfolio looked like this. So you need to go and print it out, you need to go and buy, you need to go and like put in your logo and all this. But nowadays, we are going to use in digital format. So there are many different ways that we can do. Okay. I think before you really start even the cover of the whole thing, I think it's time for you to take a good look at what you have. It could be all the way from your primary 6, primary 5 works, all the way to what you have right now. Okay, these are some of the things that you can collate and prepare, and you'll be able to show it to us. Okay, it could be a certain kind of art and craft work that you have in year 1 and when you're in Sec 1 and Sec 2, or maybe in primary school, that you believe that you'll be able to showcase your skills. It could be something hobby CCA related as well. We do have students who actually like gardening. So what happened is that this student actually document his or her gardening processes and how she actually put up the plants together and make it into very nice landscape and all this. And ultimately she managed to go into a landscape architecture course. This is really possible. Some of you are very into photography, understand that you guys are in the TikTok or maybe Instagram generations. So what you can do is that you have a nice photo. Sometimes you like to take like still life or maybe even architecture buildings that are built environment related. Feel free to collect them because you can use that and be part of the portfolio as well. Sometimes when you guys are in secondary school, or maybe in IT, or maybe in primary school, you guys have some short projects that your teacher actually asks you guys to do. It could be related to arts and craft subjects. It could be even for other subjects such as geography and history. I did use my history project when I was in year 2 as part of my portfolio to come into Poly. So you can do that also. So I believe some of you guys might have done some packaging work as part of your art and craft module in your Sec 1 and Sec 2. You can also put it in, or some other different projects as well. You can also put that in. Some of you guys are in D&T as a subject, and sometimes you got to do some, maybe I understand that a lot of you guys like for example, manga and all, or maybe still life drawing and all. So although they are so-called the stress release or relieving exercise, but what you can do is that we can just keep a copy and you'll be able to showcase that to let us know, because in these 3 courses, we rely you guys to know how to make good sketches to be able to convey the idea. We are not going to use so much of a computer in the beginning of every project assignment. Okay, so by showing the skill, you'll be able to know that whether you're suitable or not. Okay, of course, there are some major projects that we have done, like D&T and art and craft project and all. So what you can do is that use all these projects to help yourself to show passion and attitude to the course. You can also put in the evidence by adding on photographs or maybe information about your CCA. Some of you guys are in, like for example, sports CCA. There may be some other different CCA whereby you lead. It will help because in ABE, a lot of projects are in groups. So if you are basically a leader, what you can do is that you can also tell us and elaborate a little bit more about what you have and what you can offer as a team member, so that we will be able to imagine whether you are able to work in this kind of environment when you are in our school. Other different areas, like for example, some of you guys may have actually participated in the advanced elective module that we have, which is comprises with workshops, training, events, or maybe some of you guys have work attachment that you have worked before in something innovation or design related. You can also put that in, or even scientific competition, like the one at the right, whereby you make sensors, you try to come up with like maybe using some other programs to come up with different robots and all this. I think what you can also show is that you can try to show the design processes, how you develop from your origin ideas to what is the final outcome. You can put them in a systematic manner so that you can tell us like a little bit like a story. You can do that in your portfolio, so when we refer to it, we'll have a better idea. At the moment, if you have any questions, do write down your questions over in your Q&A so that we'll be able to help you answer in the later parts. For the digital portfolio, what you can do, a few ways to go about it. Like currently, what we are currently doing is that we are showing the PowerPoint. So what you can do is that you can compile your portfolio in a PowerPoint deck. What you can do is that you can print it out in a set of PDF. Aside from that, some of you guys, I believe that your teachers may have already taught you how to use like some of this like digital website platform, like for example, Wix.com or some online blogs portal. So you can also use that to showcase. I have also students who actually also try to, aside from all this student also put in a set of Instagram images. So he or she created an account. She started to put in all the image and all. She used that to show it to us during her interview, and it actually works equally well as well. But you might ask, what are the things should I collate, or maybe in what order? I'm going to go through you guys a little bit more later. You will be able to see some of the professional portfolio. You can use that as a guide. If you go onto these two websites are called Behinds and also Pinterest. You'll be able to get a lot of inspiration from there, like how to lay out, what are the good images that you can use, or maybe what are the fonts that you can use and all. So I believe that you should have some kind of preference. So what you can do is that you can use all this and try to copy down somewhere, and you can use it as a reference when you guys are working on your portfolio. Okay, other than this, you can also come over here, which is our SP website. Inside under the portfolio called End of Year Show, you'll be able to see some of the students' work. So you can use that as a benchmark as well to use it as a reference and see and get some inspiration about, for example, color choice or maybe font choice, etc. So what you need to do next is that when you're working on a real portfolio, do include a content page. So what you can do is that you can consider, maybe I have a cover page and I have a content page, so that all the information will be systematically collated. So you can even name the pages, so that when we flip, we will be able to know what we are going to expect from you. Okay, usually we'll begin with a resume, like the one at the right hand side, Sharing. He's currently, I think, in year 2, if I'm not wrong. So what happened for him is that he actually lists down, like for example, experience, like what are the jobs that he has, or maybe what are the education that he has, and also what are some of the core capabilities and informations and all, and also the skills that he attained so far. So you can also put it there. If you have not so much of the information that you have, you can also put in, like just now what I say, the CCA that you have participated, that shows some leadership skills. And you can also curate a logo, or maybe think about how will you be able to come up with a title block of your name that will be able to stand out from the rest. Because what happened in the first stage is that we are going to collect all the portfolio. What we are going to do is that we'll glance through all the portfolio and make decision of who to pick up for the interview. So I think the most important is first impression also. So make sure the first impression counts. Other than this, what you can do is that you can categorize the works into different sections. How will you be able to categorize them? You can use the following way. Okay, first of all, what you can do is that you can have a front cover page with maybe a graphics, maybe an image that you find the best representing yourself, and make sure that you include your name inside. The next page would be a content page. Other than this, you can put in your personal details, which is your resume, so-called, a little write-up about yourself. That would be great. And from then on, you can start to talk about the content. Okay. And ultimately, the back, you can put a thank you, or maybe you can just put at the you end it with a back cover. That will be the most important. Okay. What you can do with your categorization is that you can go and based on the category of your work, you can go by, like for example, I have a lot of different photos that I have taken. I can put still life, nature, and portraits together. It's all right. I can put the illustration and drawings together as well. So I can put digital drawings or maybe hand drawings together. Okay. If you want to further arrange it, you can also arrange it in chronological order. So you can begin from your Sec 1 work all the way to Sec 4, for example. Art and craft and D&T work, product, and also maybe other different objects that we have created. Just now, I think I've covered the design processes. So what you can do is that I understand art and craft project, O-level project, or maybe D&T project. What happened is that you're required to come up with sketches and come up with design process as well. So what you can do is that you can also put some of them in, and you can use words to describe a little bit in point form about how you develop to the final design so far. Okay. Other than this, you can also put in some other different projects. It could be even charity project. I understand that some of you guys actually work on charity project for old folks home, for recycling and all this. You can also put that in. Okay. How many works that you are going to show? These are some of the questions that typically students will ask. My suggestion is that you are your works. I think the most important thing is that you presented your portfolio that represent you the best. It doesn't mean that you need to follow exactly what I have proposed to you. Okay, maybe you're good at a certain thing. Some of you, I believe that you guys are very good in like coming with short clips, short videos, or even YouTube video. Some of you guys are already YouTuber already. So what you can do is that you can let us know some of the clips, some of the information that you would like to show us the best that of your innovation, of your creativity. You can also include inside the e-portfolio, so you'll be able to click and take a look. Okay. Avoid the works which needs to find excuse for it. Okay, so what happened is that sometimes you just put it for the sake of putting it, but if you are asked to elaborate, to ask a little bit more deeper, you may not be able to answer it. Maybe you might not be the one who actually lead the entire project, so you might not know 100% how the project is like and all this. One way is that you can check with the leader. Other than this is that maybe if you find that you might not know how to answer and all this, try to skip it actually. Okay, resist a temptation to show everything you have. Okay, the interview and the going through of the portfolio actually is not going to be super long, so don't give us maybe a 200-page portfolio and all this. Try to keep it maybe 8 to 10 different projects, not more than 20, so that we'll be able to look at your portfolio in a fresh set of mind and will not have any reading fatigue. Okay, that's one of the very important clue for you guys, so that you won't be a turn off for the tutor who are assessing your work. Okay, so in summary, what really makes a good portfolio is basically a good portfolio is one that lends the type of job and study you're looking for. So if you are looking for a landscape or maybe looking for interior design and all this, so think about what will the tutor be really looking for. Is it somebody who are more meticulous about details? Are they really understanding a little bit more about the area surrounding them? Or maybe you're looking for architecture and all, is there any project that I will be able to showcase the sensitivity of building forms or maybe structure and all this? Okay, so think about it and try to apply accordingly when you guys are creating a portfolio. Yeah. Okay, portfolio should showcase your work that is best and demonstrate that you understand what the interviewers are looking for. So try to prepare accordingly, and don't only show images. Try to have some point forms right up to elaborate your points as well, so that you will allow the portfolio to be able to communicate to the interviewer or maybe the assessor as well, so that the assessor will be able to make informed decision before making the shortlisted decision, whether you are good enough to join us for the interview. And ultimately, maybe after the interview is done, we'll be able to shortlist to allow you to come in to our courses, just like Farah did. Okay, I think just some Farah also say something very important is that be natural, be relaxed when you are having an interview with us, because I think we just want to know you as a person, and we would like to have a more formal chat, no need to over practice, and we want to see the real you, so that we'll be able to make the conscious decision whether we will select you to be part of the ABE family. Okay, aside from that, I think that's it from me. So I think maybe you guys can take just a couple of minutes to take a look at the Q&A. What you can do is that you can also start asking questions. At the moment, what I will do is that I will pass the mic back to Mr. Kamkip. Mr. Wong, please.
Okay. Ian, thanks so much for that sharing. I thank Mr. Ian on all of your behalf also, because I'm pretty sure if you manage to catch a lot of things that he's hinting at, it will be very, very helpful to you if you do go through the EAE process. In the meantime, we don't really see any questions being put in. Never mind, take your time to consider your questions. I will share a quick video about the facilities that we have in our school, and maybe it can give you more motivation, right, to decide to embark on this EAE journey. All right, so give me a second here. Right, okay, so this is our facilities tour. So many of you did not have the opportunity to come in to take a look at our facilities. So instead of that, okay, we are bringing it to you here now.
Hi, welcome to the School of Architecture and the Built Environment. I'm Leela, and I'll be bringing you around today. Come on, let's go! This is the forum, where ideas and views are shared, discussed, and debated. Not only does this space host invited guests for talks and seminars, but this is also the space where final year students present their works to both their lecturers and their friends. Located around the school are 3 design studios used to develop our skills as the next generation of designers. They are meant for individual tutorials, workshops, and formal hand drawing classes. Welcome to the Dream Builders 1 Lab. Our civil engineering students utilize this space to design, build, and test out the constructed models, learn about construction materials, as well as structural engineering. They can also study structural behavior and visualize the fundamental concepts of structural mechanics through these hands-on experiments. This lab is equipped with a range of non-destructive testing equipment and instruments, which will allow students to learn the salient points of physical building inspection, defect diagnosis, and maintenance. Our next stop on the tour is the Smart Facilities Management Lab. This lab is integrated with the Building Services Lab to provide learning spaces to facilities management students for building services and facilities management training. This lab is actually infused with smart technology to showcase effective facilities management using IoT and data analytics. We are now at the Digital Building Innovation Center. This center capitalizes on technology to help businesses transform collaboration, productivity, and innovation across the various professional built environment disciplines. It was established to help raise smart innovation digital awareness with like-minded individuals and companies. Hello, welcome to the event space. This space is an incubating ground for students like us to learn, plan, and simulate different events through this versatile mini performance theater. It is also integrated with an exhibition hall. This laboratory provides the space for interactive learning through the experimentation of audiovisual systems and its effects on common event backdrops. With the recent rise of virtual, physical, and hybrid events, our school has invested strongly into new technology and equipment for our students to learn about managing live streaming and other online events. Here we are at the Environmental Laboratory. This laboratory is equipped with analytical equipment for the testing of water and wastewater samples, jar tests, and hydrology studies. There are hands-on experiments for our civil engineering students to reinforce their learning on modules such as water technology, solid waste management, as well as hydrology and hydraulics. Last but not least, let's go and check out our very own Fab Studio. This is the Fab Studio, also known as the Fabrication Laboratory. This is the place to play, to create, to mentor, and to invent. It houses a centralized digital fabrication facility with studio spaces that nourishes a cross-disciplinary culture within ABE. My personal experience as an ABE student is that I get to work on design projects and attend tutorials at the design studios. I also need to present my findings to a panel of critics at the end of each term, where I will get feedback based on what I've done. So So far, I find whatever I've done really interesting and relevant because it is related to what I want to do in the future. So, this is the end of the tour, and I hope you find whatever I've shared with you really fun and interesting. I hope to see you around!
Right. So I hope that little teaser trailer to seeing what sort of facilities that we have in our school has piqued your interest. And if you are truly interested in coming over and actually visiting us physically, you have the chance to do so. Okay, so let me show you how you can do that. Okay. So if you do Google it, right, so you just go and search under SP, take your first step, June edition. Okay, so it's very important that you put June edition because then the correct one will actually pop up. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so that you can have a look at this. All right, so if you do search correctly and you type in the word SP, take your first step, June edition, you should be able to find yourselves coming to this website. Okay, so this is why we say June edition, because we did it once in December, but many folks did not know that we did try to open up our campus for some physical tours, and we limited the tours to less than 10 registrants per group. But now we are actually not restricted by any group size. Okay, so do feel free and spread the word. Okay, let your friends know. Okay, and your parents know actually that they can also come and join this tour. Okay, you can sign up for either the 9th, the 10th, or the 11th of June. Okay, yeah, you get to actually a chance to win some more vouchers too. Okay, but more importantly, you get to see our facilities with your own eyes, and also get to chat with our students and the three of us, okay, in our team. We also have our colleague, Miss Elizabeth Chow, supporting us remotely today. Okay, don't worry, she's with us right now. Okay, she's waiting for your questions. Okay, so hopefully you have posted some questions also.
Yep. I think we have a questions.
Oh, great. Okay, give me a second. Am I still in my sharing mode? Okay, hang on. Right. Let me take a quick read here. Oh yes, there is a question that popped up. Okay, so question being that you're interested in landscape architecture. Okay, great. Okay, I was or you were wondering whether you will be able to use your artwork if the artwork is not necessarily related to landscape architecture. Also, what can you show for the EAE process if you have not worked with the environment directly but am still interested in the course? Okay, let's address the first question. So Olivia here has produced some artwork, but not necessarily relating to landscape architecture. Would it be still useful to include this artwork in the e-portfolio? Maybe Ian, you can.
Okay, I think for me, I think I just I do share that I'm those students that don't have too much of an art background. So, but I want to be an interior designer. So what I did is that I just try to look at what I have so far, and try to collect as the best as I can. To be a landscape architects, you also need to know how to draw and also how to work in a team as well. So what you can do is that you can include some of this as part of the portfolio. I think there might be a chance that you might not have too much of other items, but what you can do is that you can also think about that, because now from now all the way to June, there's still some times. So what you can do is that you can take a look at what you have done so far and think about what are some of the interests. What you can do is also, based on what you have, you can enhance it further. This one. Secondly is that if you find that you have very good sketches, but you just couldn't find it at the moment, what you can do is that you can just do some good sketches within these 3 weeks. and include that inside your portfolio also can. Yeah, so I think just now Mr. Wong has already explained to you guys about what architecture is all about. You see actually a lot of different drawings, and also talking about how spaces are being presented and all this. So what you can do is that you can curate your portfolio based on that. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for that answer, Ian. And I think the second part of the question is actually quite similar, and you have already addressed the question, being that if this particular student has not worked in that environment before, what can they do? So basically, you did mention that any sort of work that shows your that can showcase your design skills and experience is always useful. And if you have not done something yet, then go ahead and do it now. All right, you still have time to do so. Do some research on do more research on what is landscape architecture, and produce something accordingly. Okay, it's never too late. So we do have a second question here, being that are the mid-year results very important for EAE application? So I guess you're referring to your secondary school mid-year results. So
I think so. Yeah. Might not be the prelim, but it's a mid-year results.
Yeah. So if you're referring to that, I don't think it's the main criteria that our interviewers are looking for. Okay. The whole point of the EAE exercise is for students to show how strong, or to demonstrate how strong their passion is for that particular field that they're interested in. Okay, so it's in fact more catered to students that are not so academically inclined and have not gotten wonderful results in their current studies, right? But at the same time, of course, you need to have passed most of your subjects in school also.
Yeah, just to add on from Mr. Wong, I think you need to make the basic requirements. Yeah, you need to make the basic requirements so that you'll be able to keep the EAE slots. Yeah. But do you need to be a straight A student? No need.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely. Okay, so that was actually a question from Wai Kiong. We are awaiting more questions to come in. I remind everyone again, do feel free to sign up to take the physical tour with us. Okay, there are still lots available. Okay, so when you come here and see us, we'll be actually bringing you through a tour of all the facilities that we have belonging to all 6 diplomas.
Yes,
can be very interesting, and then we also got some small giveaways for you. Okay, and then you get to see other things in the campus also. There will be CCA showcases. There will be some tours showing you around where are the food courts, etc. Other facilities within the campus.
Yeah, it's always good to physically visiting the school so that you'll be able to see firsthand how will your study environment be look like, or maybe the labs, or maybe all the equipments and facility that you will be able to access, so that rest assured that you'll be able to create and curate your innovation in the best manner.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, do come and see us so that you can see some of the facilities that were shown in some of the pictures during my sharing or our sharing. Namely, for example, the library. I highlighted that our library is designed quite differently. Okay, it's not just filled with books. It has a lot of space for students to hang out and have group discussions, and also be able to, it's modular, so it can be cleared to make way for exhibitions. So one of the examples I showed was actually the DID students showcasing their project work there also. So if you want to see this very interesting library design, right? When you come and visit us, you will be able to visit that library also.
Yeah. I think during the tour you will get to see your possible seniors as well. So if you want more tips, you can chat with them. Yeah,
definitely. Chat with the students. I mean, feel free.
Yeah. We are currently recruiting tour guides, right? So
yeah. If you do join our course, we have course counselors and also what we call ACEs to welcome you, you know, and then they will tour you around, they will explain things to you, they will share their own experiences with you, you know, and then you can of course ask questions and chat with them also. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a very valuable experience for you guys to prep yourself. Yeah.
So we don't really see any more questions coming in.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have addressed all your questions and all your concerns, and then whatever you know, tips and tricks that Mr. Ian Choi has shared with you just now earlier would be helpful to all of you. Please do note the EAE application deadlines, okay? So go to the SP website and go look for the EAE webpage and then follow the instructions from there. Okay, it's very clear. We have not hidden anything from you. All the processes and the requirements are all stated there very, very clearly.
Yeah.
Okay, so take some time to do your own research, take some time to, of course, take more time to prepare for it if you actually want to try to apply.
Yes, indeed. Don't be shy to ask questions. Yeah, you can ask any questions. Yeah, we are here to help. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't really have many questions coming in. So I think we have probably addressed most of the concerns. Okay, so we do hope to see you in SP either for these June tours, or when after you apply and you have been selected and you have passed the interview and you actually join us within the lessons. Okay. So again, I thank all of you for taking the time to join us this afternoon, right? For this opportunity for us to share with you, and also for one of our students, you know, Farah, coming in here. All right. So on behalf of my team, okay, we say thank you, and we wish all of you a good weekend ahead, and also a good EAE ahead. Okay, if you do intend to apply. All right. So goodbye for now. Okay, and we'll see you in SP.
Bye.